Ever since it premiered on Broadway, I feel like we've had a little bit of an obsession with trying to find a British Hamilton. There's been many shows that have been referred to as a British Hamilton, such as Six or Treason. But I think Sylvia at the Old Vic is the closest thing that I've seen that feels like it paves a similar way and it has a similar style and boldness to Hamilton. And I'm glad to say this musical is fantastic. So, what did I think of Sylvia, and why do I recommend it highly for you to go and watch? Let's find out. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie. I talk about theatre, I do reviews, I do discussions, I do video essays, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribing. It really helps me out and helps out the channel. I've also launched channel memberships as an additional way to support the channel if you are in a position that you want to do so. I have 2 tiers, and within these tiers you can unlock updates on upcoming videos, you can help vote on what comes next, and you can unlock exclusive member-only videos. You can join the channel by hitting the join button down below. It's next to subscribe. It's pretty easy to find. And you'll be helping me eat, which is very important. I do enjoy eating. But let's talk about Sylvia. So, what is Sylvia? That seems like the most important question to ask ourselves first. Sylvia is a hip-hop and R&B inspired musical about the suffragette movement. It focuses on 2 of the key figures within this movement, Emmeline Pankhurst and her daughter, Sylvia Pankhurst. These 2 had very contrasting views on how to run this movement. And this musical explores the timeline of the suffragette movement and how the conflict between the 2 affected their movement. So why did Sylvia work so well for me? Well, first off, I think it's just a great story. I think this period of history is so interesting, and I really enjoy how this musical dives into the suffragette movement. And I don't think this musical shies away from some of the tragedies that did happen within this movement. What's more, I think the relationship between Emmeline and Sylvia is so interesting. Their conflicts are a perfect place for drama. They're so bold, they're very 3-dimensional. You understand their ambitions, their goals, you relate to them, you want them to succeed, but at the same time you can see their personal choices and some of the things that they're looking past. And I think this definitely becomes quite clear with the character of Emmeline. Her strong beliefs are admirable, but she looks past and even approves a lot of wrongdoing to achieve her goals. And even though this musical covers about 20 years of history, it flows really well. I will say they could... Wow. Thank you, son. I swear, every time I film a video, the lighting outside just decides to change at the most inopportune moments. I'd like to film, please, and thank you. I think this musical explores the suffragettes and the characters within this movement and the people in such a 3-dimensional way. And what's more, despite covering about 20 years of history, this musical flows extremely well. I think it could probably trim down about 10 minutes in Act 1, but other than that, the story is told very well. You get a very deep insight into the history of this movement and keeps you engaged throughout. Then there's the score. This musical is very R&B and hip-hop inspired, and its different styles really match the show well. It's about a revolution, and in a similar way to Hamilton, I think that the hip-hop and the R&B really suits that style of storytelling. And even within the music, there's little references to other songs, and these are really fun little Easter eggs. And what's more, I think this score is really memorable. There's so many songs that, even sitting here a couple of weeks after seeing the show, I'm still kind of humming along to, such as Lady Churchill's rap, First Steps of a Revolution, Rise Up, You've Changed, and the Act 2 opener, Suffragitsu, which is just... It's so funny. It's so good. It's so good. Then there's a choreography that feels so fresh and stylized. and new as well. This choreography feels so expansive and really matches the style of the show. The staging and the set work really well together to create the imagery of this show. The projection on the back wall specifically really helps it, because if you think about it and take that away, it is a very basic set. We've got some raised platforms going across the back and a backdrop on the back wall. In terms of a bigger scale musical, it's probably about as simple as you can get. But the way that they use the projection is really, really effective. We get the year appearing, which keeps us flowing and keeping us on track with the movement throughout history. We get a lot of the imagery, we get a lot of the protests. Sometimes it's very music video inspired, with the lyrics of the songs popping up on the back. And it even reflects the different colour schemes of the characters. Emmeline Pankhurst being very black and white, and her suffragette movement having that, while Sylvia's has a very strong red. And the more you look at it and the more you take in, the more little references you get, the more you see, and it's very well done. And I think this specific cast are such a tribute to this show as well. Sharon Rose as Sylvia is a great protagonist. She has such powerful vocals and she leads the show with a lot of heart. Beverley Knight is a performer who I keep missing. I keep missing her in shows. I went to see Sister Act and it was the day that she wasn't there. I was like this close having tickets to her free concert, and finally I've been able to see her live. And what an interesting role for her. Emmeline Pankhurst becomes, as we go through the show, a lot more of an antagonist. And despite fighting for this very important movement of women's rights, doesn't fight for everyone. And we see her attitude to classes and her more conservative viewpoints than her daughter Sylvia. This journey that we go on is really interestingly done by Beverley Knight. She gets to show off these different sides to Emmeline. She gets to show the carelessness, but she also gets to show the passion that Emmeline genuinely has for this movement, as well as how good she feels to be the lead. Knight is such a great performer, and this is a perfect role for her to show off everything that she can do. Jay Perry plays Churchill, and I must say how I really enjoy this production, not feeling the need to stick to exactly what we're expecting Churchill to be. I love that he gets his own interpretation, there's no mimicry here. But what Perry gets perfectly is that pompous nature. And I think there's a lot of great comedy that comes out of Churchill's relationship with his wife and his mother. And then there's Alex Gammond, who plays Keir Hardie, who is the leader of the Labour Party. I think he adds a lot of heart to this show. He acts as a mentor figure to Sylvia, and Gammond plays him as such a genuine person. I think Sylvia feels fresh. It feels new. It feels exciting. Obviously, there are clear lines that you can draw to Hamilton here, but it still feels like its own thing. It feels so modern and interesting. And I'm so glad that we have a musical that dives into this history. I would highly recommend going to watch Sylvia. Give it a little bit of a chance. I think this is a musical that, has places to go. I think this is a musical that needs a transfer very soon. You can tell that they've worked on this and that it's so nearly done. And honestly, with its 3 Olivier nominations and a lot of hype building around the show, even despite it only being open for a little while now, I think Sylvia has a bright future. But what do you think? Have you seen Sylvia? Are you interested in seeing a musical about the suffragette movement? This is the one, go and watch it. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribing. It really helps me and helps out the channel. There's the links to my Instagram and some other videos on screen right now. And remember, you can go above and beyond to support the channel by joining our channel memberships. But that's it for me today, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye!